This is something we do. We call it cluster planting. This is a method that we use for seeds or seedlings. We group them very close together in dense patches. We don't really do the continuous when we're doing this, like continuous rows and stuff. We actually group them together on purpose. This actually mimic natural vegetation, aka this is how they actually would grow if they were growing by themselves in the wild. And it also supports better companion planting and promotes structural diversity. All right, it's going to give you a lot of improved benefits. All right, when you companion plant or cluster plant, grouping different types of plant species are going to create mutually beneficial microclimates. All right, microclimates. You guys look that up. All right, but they're going to help deter pests and they're going to improve soil health. The plants basically feed off each other. Okay, so we're going to take these seedlings, we're going to plant them in close, dense nests. Clusters will prune each other. All right, they will compete for resources, which most people think that's bad, but it will yield to stronger, bigger, dense plants. All right, cluster plants are easier to mulch, easy to weed, easy to water. Landscape designs and cluster creates more dramatic visual impact than scattering individual plants. So it's just going to seem more fuller and nicer in the area. All right, it's easier to pollinate. All right, we have a lot of bees and we use our bees for pollination all across this property, and it's easier for the bees to pollinate these cluster areas easy. Okay, grouping flowering plants attracts all types of pollinators, not just one. That gives you what we call biodiversity. All right, and that is very, very, very important. Now, when you're gardening in vegetables, okay, and you're doing large seeded crops, a lot of them like thrive when they're grown in small mounds or hills or clusters rather than straight rows. All right, corn should be planted in square cluster blocks. You understand, to ensure that pollen from the tassels easily reach the silks in neighboring ears, resulting in well-filled cobs. Okay, but then you got vining, right? So you got vining cobs. Got vining cobs like squash, pumpkin, cucumbers, melons are often planted in hills where there's 3 to 4 seeds sown close together, which will give you a good benefit, right? And then you look at tree landscape. Okay, this thing goes really far. We're talking about shrubs and perennials, right? And clusters, right? So sometimes we use mass planting or specific cluster formations, such as a 3-point triangle or a 4-1 arrangement, and we will group them together, and that will definitely help. When you're talking about restoration, right? We're talking about increasingly used to restore damaged, disturbed land. These clusters will help that. All right. Clusters will also, it would allow a plant to have dense patches of seedlings, and you're talking about 5 to 25 per nest, encourage rapid canopy closure and natural selection, which will give you the best, strongest plant you can get. So I'm a big fan of cluster planting. I don't do it all the time, but I definitely do it in my raised beds. It's a little bit harder when you're on an acre and you're trying to cluster plant because it's not going to be as much room. But in raised beds, it's perfect. All right, so this is what I'm talking about, raised beds. We're not talking about open fields. We're talking about raised beds. Cluster planting is going to give you the most benefits. It's going to be able to have different plants and competing for different biodiversity, bringing different types of pests and getting rid of different types of pests. All right, so you guys consider cluster planting. It is a good thing. It's a good look. I love it, and I'm going to keep on doing it because I've had great success with it. I hope you guys try cluster planting. Have you tried it? If you have, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about cluster planting. Thanks.